Today we are in the 100-acre wood, made famous by the Winnie the Pooh stories. But in real life it's called the 500-acre wood in the Ashdown forest, East Sussex, and we are going to explore it today. Now I've only been here a few minutes and I've already found where Winnie the Pooh has been hiding his honey. Can you spot it too? Have a look.
Christopher Robin was the first to find his house. It was an old walnut tree with a hollow trunk that he could get right inside. After that, houses had to be found for his toys, and many of the stories tell us about where each toy lived.
Now it was a cold day and Pooh and Piglet were very worried that Eeyore might get a bit chilly. So they found some sticks and they decided to build him a house. But what they didn't realise was that Eeyore had already built himself a house out of those sticks that they were taking. Now when Eeyore found out and said, "Oh, my house has disappeared," Pooh and Piglet felt very embarrassed. And they said, "Oh, the wind has blown your house all the way over to Pooh Corner," which is where they built Eeyore's new house. And that's where Eeyore's house stayed, in Pooh Corner. And look, I've managed to find one in the wood that someone's made. It's good, isn't it? Look what I've spotted in the tree. Did you see it? It's Owl's house, isn't it? But I'll tell you a secret, it's not the real Owl's house because someone has gone up there and built it themselves. Because Owl's house was actually built on a huge beech tree. It was massive and this one's much smaller. And did you see the knocker? The knocker is actually Eeyore's tail because Owl found it hanging on a bush and thought, that'd make a nice knocker, not realising it belonged to Eeyore. And Pooh found Eeyore looking all sad because he'd lost his tail. But Pooh managed to find it on Owl's house. Now who do you think lives here? It could be Piglet or it could be Pooh. What do you think? Now I don't think it's Pooh because Pooh has got a sign above his door saying Mr. Sanders. Or it could be that a heffalump or a woozle lives here. Now heffalumps and woozles came from Christopher Robin's imagination and he told Pooh and Piglet all about them. So Pooh had never seen one, but in his imagination he thought they looked like elephants, sort of. And both of them, Pooh and Piglet, were frightened of them. So they decided to lay a trap to try and catch them. Pooh and Piglet dug this heffalump trap to catch a heffalump, and they put a pot of honey at the bottom of it to try and attract them. But unfortunately it didn't really work because Pooh went home and he could not stop thinking about that yummy, yummy honey. So he went back to go and have some and he found Piglet in the bottom of it. So they didn't end up catching any heffalumps, they just ended up eating lots and lots of yummy honey.
A.A. Milne had a holiday home called Cochford Farm, close to the forest, where he would bring his wife Daphne and Christopher often. He wanted somewhere peaceful to escape to after he had fought in the war, somewhere he could find inspiration to write. And this was the perfect place.
Can you imagine having this as your playground? It's huge. I bet Christopher Robin had the best time running around, having the freedom with his toys and his nanny, playing all sorts of games, jumping over rivers, climbing trees, and having all sorts of fun. Now we're heading to Pooh Bridge. I'm so excited, but I've had to get my sticks before because I've heard that there's no sticks around there whatsoever because so many find them and play Pooh Sticks with them. So make sure if you come down, you always find your sticks before, just in case. We are at Pooh Sticks Bridge, made famous by A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh stories. Christopher and Pooh would come here and play Pooh Sticks all day long. And now many other children like you do too. I'm sure you've all played Pooh Sticks, but do you know where it comes from? Well, Pooh was sitting on this very bridge one day when he accidentally knocked in a pine cone and it went into the water. He watched it go in the water and cross the other side of the bridge. He thought, that's cool, if it works with pine cones, it must work with sticks. He dropped the sticks in and that is where the game of Pooh Sticks began. So should we have a go? Ready? Which one do you think is going to go the quickest? Here we go. Boop. and then you watch it come out the other side. Now there's a very famous picture of Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh on this bridge. So Winnie the Pooh is sat right here and Christopher would stand on this ledge. Now Pooh Corner have got a cafe, they've got a shop, and they've even got a Poohseum. And I'm hoping I'm going to be able to talk to the guy who runs it. Let's see. Tell us about your Poohseum.
Yeah, so welcome to the Poohseum. This is
Thank you.
This is something that we've been working on for the last year. Like, these are my personal favourites. These they're beautiful.
They're so cute. They're lovely. Where did your passion for Pooh come from?
I grew up in Toronto, in Canada, and when I was 8 years old, I got a copy of Winnie the Pooh from my auntie. And it's actually in the museum up there, because a lot of people come in that love Winnie the Pooh, and they say, oh yeah, but are you a true Pooh fan? It's like, so I always go and get the book, and I show them that it was my 8th birthday present, and it's something that I've kept. All the Star Wars toys, all the other toys have gone, but that book and a couple of other things has always been part of my heart. Pooh Corner, the reason it's well known is because in Christopher Robin's own autobiography, he actually talks about going up the hill and down the hill and into the village of Hartfield and into the first house on the left, which is this house. And in there was the village sweet shop. And he would come in and he would buy, in most normal occasions, he would buy a penny's worth of bullseyes, which were his favourite sweets, just little black and white round balls. And then he would go back home with his nanny or his dad or his mother, but he quite often would actually bring his donkey, and he would park his donkey, tie her up outside. Park's not quite right, is it? But he'd tie her up outside. And we always say to people, do you know what the name of the donkey was? And they always go,
Eeyore, yes.
But it wasn't called Eeyore, it was actually called Jessica.
Oh,
so
Jessica the donkey.
Yeah. Jessica. But the strange thing about it is he actually did have a donkey, and that's part of how we believe that transitioned into it. So these are lovely, and I'll show you.
Yeah, no, let's have a look.
So do you know
I love this.
about the original bear?
Well, I actually have seen the original bear. I went to New York last year and I got to see him in the cabinet.
In the actual museum?
Yeah, it was very cool.
This bear here is exactly the same, was for sale in house exactly the same time. So this is actually the same model, the same make, the Farnell Alpha bear. So this is as close as we'll get to what Christopher Robin's original bear looked like.
Thanks, Neil, for chatting to me and sharing all your Pooh knowledge. Now I'm heading to a spot where I can find one of the best views of the forest.
Tell you what, I'm glad I brought my trainers. Imagine having this view from your bedroom window, because that's what Christopher Robin could see. Now, can you see all the way up there, the very top of the forest? That is the highest point, and it's where Christopher Robin used to play. We're going to go up there in a bit and find the monument that's dedicated to A.A. Milne and the illustrator, Ernest Shepard.
In the books, Milne referred to the top of the forest as the Enchanted Place, and also Galleon's Lap. But in real life, this spot is actually called Gill's Lap.
So we're nearly at the top of the forest, but before we get there, look at all this sand. There's loads of it. Now in the books, this is where we'd find Roo practicing his jumping.
Christopher's toys had been feeling that something was about to change, and they were right. One day, Christopher took Pooh up to a special place at the top of the forest to talk to him about the future.
So here we are at the Enchanted Place. It's the highest point of the forest, and it's where Christopher and Winnie the Pooh love to come and sit. Christopher Robin said that he could see the whole world stretched out in front of him, and you can see why, can't you? It's so beautiful. You can see for miles and miles and miles. Now this is a really important place in the book because it's where Christopher Robin tells Winnie the Pooh that he's not going to be around so much anymore. He's growing older and going off to school. It's my favourite part of the books, and A.A. Milne gives the stories a perfect ending.
Here we have a monument dedicated to the writer A.A. Milne and the illustrator Ernest Shepard. It says how they captured the magic of Ashdown Forest and gave it to the world. And they really did just that. These stories are timeless. They are as popular today as they were in 1926, when the first book was written. This monument was actually unveiled by Christopher Robin himself.
Now the reason that this is called the Enchanted Place is because no one can ever count whether there's 63 trees or 64. It's amazing to look around, and I think I could try and count, but I don't think I'd be able to.
Walking up to the top of the forest, you really do feel as though you're sitting within the pages of A. Milne's stories, as Christopher Robin's 100-Acre Wood and Ashdown Forest are so similar, and we see that through Ernest Shepard's illustrations. Sitting up here where they would have sat reading the book, you can really see how Milne captures the beauty of this forest in his writing.
Still, with his eyes on the world, Christopher Robin put out a hand and felt for Pooh's paw. "Pooh," said Christopher Robin earnestly, if I'm not quite..." He stopped and tried again. "Pooh, whatever happens, you will understand, won't you?" "Understand what?" "Oh, nothing." He laughed and jumped to his feet. "Come on." "Where?" said Pooh. "Anywhere," said Christopher Robin. So they went off together. But wherever they go, and whatever happens to them on the way in that enchanted place on the top of the forest, a little boy and his bear will always be playing. Have you ever read a Winnie the Pooh story? Because if you haven't, I hope after watching this, you'll go and pick one up. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later!